I'd like to thank you for joining us today for our second SISD Talk event. My name is Arianna and I'm in grade 8. It is a great honor that I will be moderating this talk with my partner Dean, also in grade 8. I would like to thank Mr. Johan Persson that joined us our talk in absence of Mr. Magnus to share his Careem highlights and Careem story.
Before we begin, I would like to introduce you to our agenda. Mr. Johan will begin by showing us a presentation and talking to us about Careem's success story and Careem's culture. We have some questions prepared for you, Mr. Johan, and finally we will have a Q&A with the audience. Now please give a warm welcome to Mr. Johan Persson, Vice President of Captain Experience of Careem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me, and this is exciting, so don't be shy. So if everybody would move a little bit forward, would be amazing, so we can have a very close discussion. I hope for many questions before we finish. So should I start with some of the slides? Please interrupt me if you have questions or thoughts. And I have also prepared 2 videos to show a little bit about who we are and what our culture is. I will talk a bit about Careem and what is specific to Careem and the industry that we're working in. And a very interesting concept there is something called hyper-growth. So I think this is a new buzzword that is coming more and more hyper. So this is very cool. And also, how do you manage customer and customer in many sense expectation in this sharing economy? So first of all, let's talk about who is Careem. So the story behind Careem is that we want to be local. We are from here. So we are today operating in 13 countries, from Morocco in west to Pakistan in east. And this is our home base, and we want to be local and we want to adapt to our local environment. So this is what we believe in, that localization will make us win. So this is very important for local businesses to find a niche and localize and find local needs. So for example, we have specific products for women. We think about safety and security. We have a lot of different localizations that we can come back to in a bit. Perfect. So we knew from the beginning, and I have been in Careem for almost 3 years now, that this is going to be very, very big. And just to give you a proof, maybe you don't know how big it is, because Careem in Dubai is a very small business for us. But we're currently in 13 countries, and the region itself is big. If you look at it, we have 20 countries in what we call the broader Middle East. So we have shaped a new term that didn't exist before, that is called the broader Middle East. I think that's pretty cool. And in this region, there is around 700 million people. Think about it. How many people live in Europe, for example? Or how many people live in India? So this is almost as big as India and twice the size of Europe. So it's a massive opportunity, the local market where we're all in. If you look at some other things, the biggest economies in the region is Turkey, Saudi, UAE, Iran, Egypt, and Pakistan. And if you look at that list, we're already in a couple of these countries like Turkey, UAE, Saudi, of course, Egypt, and Pakistan. If we talk about Careem, you can take some numbers. So when I joined, like almost 3 years ago, we were 40 employees, 40 people in the office. And this was in Saudi, here, we had started Egypt. And now we're more than 2,000 employees in the company, and we have more than 250,000 cars on the street. And when I say cars, we don't only have cars, we also have other type of transportations. For example, in Pakistan, we have rickshaws, which is a form of tuk-tuk. And in Alexandria, we have more than 300 scooters. So you can go by bike. And what's so amazing with motorbikes is that our general manager in Alexandria, he has a gym to go to. And if he takes a Careem to the gym, a normal car, it takes him 45 minutes. If he takes a scooter, it takes 3 minutes because of the traffic. So this is a fantastic product that we call Go Fast. So it's really to go fast. So we also have tried some other products. As you know, we have taxi on board in Dubai, Jordan, Egypt. We have a product in Dubai that I recommend you to try that is very cool. It's called Careem Box. So this is just an innovation of what we are currently having. So you can order anything from anywhere up to a value of 500 dirhams, and the captain brings it to you. So it's a really fast delivery method of anything you want. So this is just examples, but I think the takeaways here is that the region is big, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of business opportunity for all of us, and there are more reasons why we should do this, but I'm coming back to that. So, I don't know how many speaks Arabic here. Speak Arabic? You have taken Arabic classes? No?
We take Arabic, but we don't speak it.
So do you know what Careem means? Not Careem with this spelling, but like Ramadan Careem.
I think she does.
Huh?
No, sorry, sir.
Yeah, anyone? Yes, in the back. Generosity, amazing. I don't speak Arabic, but Careem means generosity. So we have this saying, which is very nice. So we have 3 different stakeholders in our business model. It's the captains that you see every day if you take a Careem ride, that I care passionately about. We have the colleagues here in the middle with a laptop, and we have the customers. So we have the saying that we want to be Careem to our customers, captains, and our colleagues. So we want to be generous to all of our stakeholders. So that's a very nice concept, and I think this is a very local name. So you can see it has some inbuilt meanings as well. It starts with car, right? So it's like a local twist on Careem. But it works really well, so that's very cool. Do you know how many customers we have today? Did you see that in the previous slide? Take a guess. How many customers do you think we have?
You want to go first?
I'm gonna guess around 2 million.
2 million. So it's very similar to the population of Sweden, where I am from. So we have almost 9 million users already. So that's pretty big. I talked about that there is more reasons than just good business to be here and be part of Careem. And I think this is what's so amazing and that you should think about when you start your business maybe, or if you join a company in the future, that we are really, really mission driven. And our mission is very simple, and it has 2 parts. So it's to simplify and improve people's life. So this is around the product that we are delivering. We want to deliver a product that is simplifying and improving people's life. For example, Box, it's simplifying your life. Maybe you need to pick up milk and you forgot it, or you want a coffee, then they can deliver to you. Or you can come faster to work or to school. And if you look at it from the captain's point of view, we're really improving their lives as well, because we providing a better situation for them, more stable income, more work, fighting unemployment in certain countries, etc. So this is to do with our products. It doesn't say anything about transportation, so it's really about us simplifying and improving people's life in this region. The second part that I'm even bigger on is to build an awesome organization that inspires. So here we want to inspire our colleagues. We want to inspire, that's why I'm here today. We want to inspire you guys to do similar things. So be crazy, be innovative, become entrepreneurs. And we want to inspire governments to build regulation that support the new type of economy, etc. So this is something that I really love with our mission, that we want to build an awesome organization that inspires. I think that's really, really cool. Any questions so far? Is it interesting? Am I too slow, or? You have a question? Suggestion? Okay, and caring.
Oh, Careem. Ties in with the generosity thing you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
So that you're caring for people.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that is the meaning as well, that we care for people, and we care. So, and also what we think about elaborating on care is that we think caring means personal as well. So we're trying to adapt our services and our offerings to be personalized too, because that's a very important thing. So it's a good suggestion. So Careem equal care or caring. Thank you. Good. So in the beginning I talked about hypergrowth. So we talked about the colleague or employees growth from 40 to 2,000. But since the beginning of the Careem story, we've been growing around 10 times every year.
Wow.
So it's big. So you can imagine if you have 10 cars in 2013, we would have how many cars in 2014?
20.
No, 10 times.
Oh,
What's
100.
10 times? Exactly. And what would we have the next year?
10,000.
1,000, right?
1,000.
And then 10,000.
10,000.
And then 100,000, and then 1 million. So everything is scaling, and that is really a challenge. We have a pretty basic and simple business, but it's the scaling that makes it so difficult. So this is a very interesting problem to have. So we call it a rocket ship. And again, this is the reasons why we think it's going to be big. We can skip this one, I think. We talked in the beginning about localization, and again, I think this is very important when you think about projects and things, and if you're going to do stuff, that you try to make a good product market fit for your customers and think about what they really need, so you create a very good experience for them. So we have like later bookings, which is you can book in advance. We have different payment options, like you can pay with cash. Like no one is in US would like to pay with cash, but here cash is big, etc. So this is how we think. And this is just an example of how we have simplified and improved people's life. For example, I think a couple of things here are pretty interesting. We have this one. We have a specific car in Saudi that is called Careem 1. That is transportation for people that have difficulties to move. So this is a very noble product that we did together with the authorities. We have Careem Kids that you might be aware of. And on this post here, this is our founder's wife. So everybody's chipping in and helping us grow, so that's amazing. We always try to celebrate our captains. So here we portrait them as heroes, superheroes. We're big on safety. We're coming back to that, but I think safety is a very important topic for this region because it's an unsafe region in general. Yeah. And in Saudi, they have the second highest mortality in traffic, for example, in accidents. So I think this is where we can really improve people's lives. And I think this one is, sorry to being slow, but this is pretty cool. So this was during Eid in Jordan. Normally you deliver the goat for the meal, but in this case it was a special car type for children where they can order a goat and they could pet the goat and then it went away again. So it was pretty nice. It's just an example of how we're being local and helping people. So I've been for a long time in Careem, but recently it became more official that I'm the man that is leading the captains. So I'm really passionate about the captains because I think they are the core to what we're doing. So we'll watch a video a little bit later, or if we can do it now, could we watch the video now? It's okay. So I want to show you that captains is really something that we care for, and they're really not only numbers, but they're actually humans. So we'll see. So I'll try this one. Let's see. I don't know if you've seen this before. It's pretty cool.
It is dependent on me. I can't be on the low, I can't be on the top. So I would like to be on top.
January 2017, the Careem Super Captain Program was born to honor top performing captains in the UAE. Only 36 were carefully selected to become members of this elite squad. This is their story.
My name is Zaman. I'm a super captain. I want to go construction company. I have been in Careem for more than 3 years.
My name is Mohammed. I was came here in the year 2007 before I was studying in Pakistan. We try to go fast for the customer service. I'm very happy we go through this a lot. Like we are thinking Careem is focused. Like we are one of Careem.
It's not known my hard work is appreciated.
We feel it like Careem is very good. We know that.
Previous for captain is also good for customer because super captain more experience, and also more learning also.
I have 4.7 rating and I'm very programming, but I would like to become a pilot.
Since I am with Careem, I was able to write 2 cars, and inshallah soon I will write another car. I use this car for our business, so I put to the driver, and the driver and also with Careem for no money.
So I would like to be kind of the captain, so can train them and can tell them what to do to become a super captain. I would like to help other captains.
There's a medal which I got it, and my brother, family, they are very happy. I don't know what I for Careem give me opportunity, and they give me a nice platform. So they are, I know what you are. Inshallah you will get, and you will see the change in your life. Work hard. The support Careem, and Careem will support you always.
So I think it's just showing that we're all humans and we're caring for our people. And it's really, these are contractors that are third-party companies. And so the loyalty is very important. So we need to show our... So yeah, so it's important that we care for our captains. So I think we can open up for your questions, and then
Okay.
I just want us all to do something about safety in the end before we finish. So I'll show one more slide when we're finished with the questions.
Sure. So my first question is, one of Sheikh Mohammed's visions is to make Dubai a smart city. And how is Careem going to take part in this vision and push his services to the limit?
That's a very good question, but I think we already started because with Careem and its competitor, it's already becoming smarter. But I think how we can be even more smarter is to utilize the data that we have. So of course we have a lot of data, so we have what is called big data, and that can be used together with machine learning and artificial intelligence to do a lot of cool stuff. So I think we can start predicting when you need a car, for example, or maybe where you want to go so that you can get a car quicker or be smarter. We can also maybe deduct traffic information from our data as well to help the traffic flows, etc. There's many ways, I think, but we're working closely with the government and we're part of some of these programs as well. So yes, I think we're in for the game and help, but I don't know exactly how today.
Very well, thank you. And so my second question is that we all know that Dubai is an open market that encourages investors to start their own businesses everywhere in the country. And it's usually very successful, and everyone tries to do their best and tries to be on top, which will basically generate a new competitive market. What is your competitive strategy in this lead?
So you mean how we would support new entrepreneurs or how we are winning?
So what is your competitive way of going in this region of other significant investors throughout UAE or Dubai?
So I think, as I mentioned before, we believe strongly that we need to deliver a really good user experience, both for our customers and captains, and also localizing our product. So it really caters for your needs and someone in Egypt's need and someone in Jordan's need. And it could be in different ways. So I think that is one of the key ways we will win. And another one is just to stay very humble. We're a very humble company, so we're very simple people, and even our funders and myself and everybody's working on strategy one day and working on the streets the next day. So we're just all hands-on and making this happen together. So that's a very nice thing. So I think the spirit and the culture that we have in the company, and also that our strategy is to localize our offering to the customers in the region.
Perfect, thank you. And my last question is, since Expo 2020 is less than 3 years away, Dubai will be welcoming many millions of tourists, and in other words, Dubai will be overcrowded, and most probably traffic jams will increase. And aerial transportation might become the best solution by then. So are you willing to include aerial transportation in Careem?
We're open to anything, I think. Like I said, we have rickshaws today, bikes, we have had boats in Egypt. So we're open when the possibility is there, of course, why not? You could book something like this, I think. Absolutely.
Perfect, thank you. I'll pass on to my partner.
Hi, well, I have a few questions. They're much simpler than hers. My first one is, you talked about localization and how important that is. So do you think after some time that Careem might globalize in the future?
I think currently I think our view is that we're very good to operate in this region, because also if you look at our colleagues, a lot of our colleagues are from the region. So people are passionate about making a change in this region because they belong here. So I think we will focus on this span of countries and maybe a little bit north and a little bit south, but rather than do other things. As I said, our mission is to simplify and improve people's life. It doesn't say anything about transportation, so it might be other things towards like the smart city or other innovative solutions. So I think rather than expanding geographically, we will go into other types of services.
Okay, thank you. And my other question is, you talked about hypergrowth. Could you tell us how Careem achieved that hypergrowth?
Again, I think it goes back to the product market fit and the localization. So if we open up a new market, in the beginning it's very difficult. So you need to experiment with different type of cars, you need to experiment with different type of prices, you need to experiment with different type of marketing, but once you're hitting the head on the nail, just on the specific fit that the people in that city likes, then you will see tremendous growth. And why it's becoming hyper growth is because transportation is a very basic need that everybody needs. And also in the region, it's not well developed. So we're building a lot of infrastructure in Pakistan and Egypt where there are very little transportation available.
And my last question is, what was your marketing strategy? I know you're more of a captain's guy, yeah?
I'm more
like the vice president,
captain's
operations,
guy,
yeah?
but I can maybe answer.
Good. I'm just asking, I'm curious. Do you know any of that? Like the marketing, how it happened?
How it's happened?
Yeah.
In so many different ways. So I have another video lined up that is a bit crazy. Maybe you saw this video, the slingshot. Did someone saw it? No? So this is how we do marketing. So I think the story, we had a collaboration with a company and they didn't deliver, so we got some money back. And then we took a group of freelancers and under a lot of secrecy, we created this campaign. So I think it's worth showing it then, because this is like, we're very innovative and it's like guerrilla marketing type of activity. So we do a lot of Facebook, Twitter, marketing of course, but we also do this type of, so we're very creative and I think that's the key. So if you're starting your own business, you need to think, it's not about spending the money, it's about thinking about how can we make this happen without money, and then you add the money as well. Then it becomes a good,
You guys should get some questions ready for him later.
but good question so far. Very interesting. I'm glad I came. Let's see, I can make this happen. So this is, oops. So this is the reveal video. So to give you some, no. So before we start, so it was released as a completely unbranded video, like 4 days before this happened. And we had lined up a couple of influencers, like 20, for example, Chris Fade, he was one of them. So they talked about the video before it was known to the public that this was Careem. So let's see if we can make this happen. But this is the video that we released to announce that it was actually our video. And I think we had 350 million views on this video. So it started from here. And this is where the initial video, like it was cut here. So the initial video, it went like everywhere and to Japan and Europe, and everybody was talking about it. And we even got some calls from the police because people were starting to talk about that people died in Dubai and this is bad and what about everything. So we didn't want to release the reveal video so early, but we had to release it pretty quickly. But it was very successful. So this was done with very little money and a small team of freelancers. So it's just the creativity and how crazy you are. We have had some other examples. We had something called what's it called now? In Saudi. Yeah. Anyway, we have a lot of crazy stuff. So we do a lot of crazy marketing.
Okay, so I think we can ask some questions now from the audience.
Absolutely.
Please, does anyone have any questions? Shall I go up to them?
What are some target goals Careem is trying to reach?
Can you repeat, please?
What are some target goals that Careem wishes to reach?
It's a very good question. So we look a bit different on targets and goals. So we're setting targets every 3 months. So we have a wide range of targets. Our main KPI, key performance indicator, is the number of trips that we take. But me as an experienced person, my main KPI is the happiness of our captains. So we measure something called NPS score. So it's Net Promoter Score of our captains. So how many of our captains would recommend us to their family and friends? So we have a wide range of KPIs, and we are really nerdy when it comes to data. So we have a lot of data people, and we have around 10 data scientists that are continuously digging deeper into the data, building machine learning. And we have a big team that is creating dashboards and KPIs. So we have many different targets, of course. But trips is our main target because we are focused on the growth. Was that an answer to your question?
Yep, thank you.
Sure, thanks.
Anyone else have any questions?
What were some of your main complications starting up Careem in the UAE?
So I'm maybe not closer. I think I'm so loud, so I'm just trying to. Yeah, the main complication starting up in UAE. So I joined Careem after 2.5 years when it was started up. But I think it's always hard, especially in Dubai where it's a lot of regulation, to launch a new service because there is very little legislation around this type of businesses. So I think that has been one challenge with starting up in Dubai. For example, there was one period where our captains were fined heavily by the authorities because it was illegal. So they were very unhappy. But at that time, we were generous, so we paid the fines for our captains at that time. And then we negotiated, and this went away. So now we're friends. So that's one struggle. Another struggle is it's not specific to Dubai, but when you're growing this quickly, it's like office space for the company. We're moving office every 6 months because we're getting so big.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And I think we can have time for a third question.
Sure.
So one of Careem's tools is the negative balance, and then I know people that use it, like mistreat it by making a fake account and putting the sub balance or the zero balance and deleting the account, so technically they're stealing money out of your pocket. So what are the ways that you prevented it or will prevent it for the future?
So it's a very good question. I think a lot of digital businesses have this problem, like eBay, banks, Amazon, etc. So we have a fraud team with 5 team members that are working to detect patterns of fraud and implementing different fixes to prevent fraud. So we're blocking you as a user and we're trying to prevent you to use us again. But it's really, we're trying to build systems because of the scale of 9 million users. We cannot manually manage this process. So we have a fraud team, and it's a very interesting, if you're good in mathematics, this is a very cool team to join. So that's what we do. Thank you.
Any last question? Questions? No? Okay, we would like to hear some closing statements for you. Oh, there is.
It's not so much of a question, but I want to make Careem more inspiring. How can we create a program between Careem and our students from an internship point of view?
I think the first step is that you come and visit our office because it's super inspiring. So you're more than welcome to visit our office, take the classes and come for an hour, 2 hours. We have a coffee, we bring in some people, we look at different teams, we talk about some topics you're interested in. I think that's a good start. We can also do projects if you're interested, both within innovation.
Exactly.
I think we heard something from someone, who was it that did this? But someone in the tech space had like an innovation lab for like young people, where they just created a space and they came there and just innovated. So we could maybe set up something like that as well.
I think it would be good to explore that, I think, later on, just to see if there is any live challenges that you face. And then we can have a small team from an audit point of view, from marketing point of view, from operational point of view, to come. We're trying to get our students closer to the real world and get them ready.
Absolutely.
For that.
Let's talk about it.
Sure.
We're very open to this, and we want to inspire in many different ways. So this is a good opportunity.
The second thing, I know Careem used to do that. You used to drop a business card, so it was pre-mapped for the location. We have a lot of visitors. We have a lot of parents here. Can we get that done here, so when somebody calls from this number, we know where
Yeah, we can do that, absolutely. So we have this system where you can call a specific number for different locations.
Yeah.
So we can set it up, and also we need to review the locations of the school
Yeah.
as well. So we should map it up like a mall and do all this cool stuff.
Exactly.
Let's do it. Thank you.
And is there any additional anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I want to
towards?
share one more slide because this is something we do that is super inspiring. So now we'll get a little bit active. I need everybody's help. Let's go to the end. So we do this with all our new colleagues because I'm a bit of a safety freak. So the story. Let's go. So the story is that 2 years back, I sent this email to everybody in Careem, and everybody had to reply to everybody that they took this safety pledge. So I want us to read it together. So we had this campaign, what we call Buckle Up. So just to ensure that you all will use seatbelt after today, I want you to read with me, because this is what we do with all our new employees or colleagues. So I'll start. I herewith pledge. Yes?
Pledge.
Yes. I will use this freaking seatbelt.
I'll use this freaking seatbelt
Every freaking day.
every freaking day
On each freaking ride.
on each freaking ride.
And I will do this starting now.
And I will do this starting now
Because Careem loves me.
because Careem loves me,
And because my family loves me.
because my family loves me,
And they don't want me to die
and they don't want me to die,
in an accident or get hurt.
an accident, or get hurt.
I swear
I swear
I will do this now
I'll do this now
because I'm the change I want to see in this world.
because I change this world.
So this is what we do with all new colleagues, and then it's absolutely not okay to not use the seatbelt. So here's the tricky question. Can you not use the seatbelt in the back seat? Of course it's not okay, right? But we have this issue, and even when I find cars in Egypt that doesn't have a seatbelt in the back seat, I ensure that the captain, he pulls up the seatbelts before I go with the car. So at least it's there for the next customer as well. So this is how we can save lives. This is very easy. But this is how we can improve people's life. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for joining us in the second SISD Talks. I believe this concludes our evening. Let us just give one last round of applause to Mr. Johan Persson, and I hope to see all of your lovely faces at the next SISD Talks.